GMB pros, welcome everyone that's here on the live. We have Aaron just coming on, Mike, George. I appreciate you guys. Those that are catching the replay, I appreciate you guys, everyone that is on here. Those that are catching the replay as well. It's funny, you don't realize how many people look forward to that replay till it's not there. So actually, William was working on that yesterday, getting all that caught up as far as the replays are concerned. So, guys, welcome once again to GMB Pros on a Friday. Um, Please remember, William and I's goal for the GMB Pros is twofold. One is to help you grow your agency, right? And number two is help you um, get better results for your clients, right? And we do that. We try to come on live about two, three, sometimes five times a week, bringing on a guest. That way they can give you over the shoulder examples and training and whatever the subject is on that particular time. Today you have me, guys, and then this can be implemented on any business. Today we're going to talk about the biggest SEO mistakes. Don't ruin your on-page SEO. This can be applied to any plumber site, any lawyer, any service-based business, really any type of business, e-com, um, B2B, B2C clients. It's really what I call like best practices on SEO. Don't ruin your on-page SEO because it won't matter what else you do after that. Um, it's almost, it just won't matter, right? If your page is not set up properly, if you're not doing the best practices, it's just going to be a bucket with holes. You're fishing in a lake without any fish. Nobody knows where you're at, no engagement, no awareness of your business, no matter what your business is. So you have me today. I'm going to cover these, what I call like best practices. And I'm also wanting to give you some examples. So guys, if you have any questions throughout this presentation, feel free to put it in the chat. If it triggers anything, and that's my ultimate goal. It's like, okay, I forgot about this or I forgot about that. Or, if you're a business owner catching the replay, like what is Alfred talking about? The goal here is, if you catch it on the YouTube channel, Williams or my channel, that you'll see like, okay, now that makes sense. And then I'm going to try to connect the dots, right? Put the puzzle together, why SEO on page makes a huge difference. Um, my buddy, my bestie, lead mentioned this, and I never forgot it. And it made so much sense. And I never thought about it the way when he put it out there, the way he said it. One was, or the biggest thing he says, when it comes to on page, getting it right, and the better you do an on page, the more you get right on page and dial it in and like solid, right? The less you'll have to do off page, the less you'll have to do, or how can I say it? If with all this on page, if you get that nice and tight, people will say like off page. If they say they say you have to do 15 of this off page things, you'll have to do a lot less, one or two or three things, depending on the niche, depending on the population, depending on how competitive it is. If you get your on page dialed in, the less you'll have to do off page to get awareness, to get engagement, right, onto your page, for Google to recognize who you are. So when customers look for your business, that they will find you. So hopefully that paints a picture of how important, and I'll get into it, connecting the dots, but that's the way. If you get the stuff that I'm going to talk about dialed in pat, the less you have to do off page, the less you have to do um, with maybe stuff that you don't have control over. Okay. And again, I'll paint the picture, I'll go in deeper, give you some examples on each and every one of these areas. Like, okay, when I talk about this, this is where you find it. This is why. This is the connections that you have with some of this stuff. So um and when I mean by stuff, I mean the on page, the technical on page from content, right? And I'll dive right into it. Everything, and you guys have heard me say this before, everything. It doesn't matter what you're doing in SEO, with YouTube, with Google, with Facebook, anything digital, it all is going to start off of your keywords, right? Duh, right? It's all based on awareness and engagement to you, based off of, let's say, proximity. Okay. I think that's the number one, especially for your plumbers, your roofers. It's all based on proximity, right? You're not going to drive 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different states to do this, to do your service, to practice your law, to practice your, go to a house for a plumber, right? So it's proximity. It all starts off a keyword. So if Google, if you're in a particular city, if you're in a particular town, and somebody searches for you, types in a specific keyword, that Google knows who you are, where you're at, and what you're trying to do, right? So keywords, when I say keywords, guys, and anytime for future or past, anytime when I say keywords, what do I mean by that? I mean entities, variations of the keyword, LSI or NLP, right? That's what I mean by keywords. What are entities? Stuff that's attached, like to Wikipedia, stuff that Google knows, you have an entity. So if you type in that particular word, Google knows. You can usually you find like a Wikipedia page, a knowledge panel on that. Um, yeah, no problem, Aaron. Thank you. So that's what I mean by entities, right? It's gonna be those three things. When I say keywords, I'm sorry, so entities, variation, and variation is like a synonym, right? Like what is the key? What is another way of saying that particular keyword? Uh, without using that particular keyword, a variation, or words that are associated with your particular keyword, a variation of that particular keyword, right? And then LSI or NLP, um, what, how can I describe that? It's maybe how you put your projects together, how you put the words together, how you have that combination. So it's geared towards, and if you get the variations and the entities correct, the NLP is going to be super easy, and it's based like on content, on density, the word count of a particular word. So that's what I mean when I say keywords. It's those three different categories of the keyword. And Xavier's on here. We were just talking about like um his project that he has going on. So he wants to put a website, and it's just not a matter of just putting the website together. It's putting it with that balance that you want Google to be aware of you, and you want your clients to have engagement with you, that they find you in your particular area with your specific keywords that you're trying to go after. So guys, I'm hopefully this makes sense. I'm trying to paint this picture. Just follow along with me. I'm going to take you down this path. Hopefully you pick up what I'm putting down. So let's jump right into it, right? So some of the areas on page SEO that could work, that can ruin if you don't get this right, is going to be unoptimized meta tags, meta title, and meta description right off the top. So if you've been with me on a Zoom call and we're going through your website, one of the things I described is one of the first places Google looks at is right from the top, right? They'll look at your URL, and then they'll look at your meta tag title and your meta tag description. and then we're gonna go down from there. So unoptimized meta title and description, especially in your descriptions. So a lot of times we use like WordPress, right? Different platforms, and they'll have there'll be different optimization tools that are out there that get that help you hey, optimize this by character. And one of the flaws that we see is that it'll say like, hey, you only have like 260 or you only have like 90 characters. Don't fall into that trap, guys. Don't fall into that trap of, especially in your description, put all your three categories of the keywords right in there. Because Google will also make those changes for you. So if you give it enough information, you're hoping that they pull from there. They'll test from you different meta descriptions that they'll pull when you're doing your search. It'll change it up for you. But optimize that in those three categories. As far as the title, the way I like to do it is depending on the page, if it's the home page or your service page. I'm going to focus on, let's say, your plumber drain cleaning page, or whatever your service page may be. Usually your keyword, you want to build a whole page on that particular keyword, which is a lot of times your service page. You're a plumber, your junk removal, right? What are your main keywords or your main categories of service that you offer, right? That you can put, and then, so for example, let's say plumber, drain cleaning. While drain cleaning is your main keyword, you should have a drain cleaning page as one of your services. So what I'm trying to get to, on that particular page, on your title, you should have the keyword first, drain cleaning, the city that you're in. So Hesperia, you know, um, whatever your city is, San Diego, LA, and then your brand at the end. So that's kind of the cadence on your title that generally you want to follow. Now, what I'm saying, guys, is optimize your title, optimize, don't fall into the trap of that description being boxed into a certain number. Extend the description as far down as you can. And then on your title, there, and you'll see different variations of that. Some, I'm not saying this is gospel or this is the only way, but just trying to give you a frame, kind of like a structure to follow. Keyword, location, and then your brand second. So that's one of the ways that you can under optimize, okay, your on page. And to, if you don't do that, it's going to affect your awareness with Google and your engagement with your clients, finding you being on page one. That's the idea, right? Being on page one to give you those opportunities to get those phone calls. Another area, and I'll break this down for you guys as we go on. I'll give you an example. Another area is multiple H1s in the headers, okay? And I'll go into details again, describing where this is at and what this looks like. But multiple H1s, especially if you're doing like other like Google Search Console, especially if you're doing like Bing, web tools, especially with Bing, there's some search engines that are more like technical. If you have more than one H1, it will penalize you. It will give you problems, especially with Bing. So multiple H1s. Again, your H1 should be one per page. And this is like best practices, and it should be focused on the example that I just gave. Let's say it's drain cleaning. Your H1 should have just drain cleaning on there. That should be the keyword. So what you're doing is, from your URL at the top, it has drain cleaning in your URL. Your title tag has drain cleaning. Your description has all the variation, all the different keywords, drain cleaning. Your H1 has drain cleaning. The first sentence of the first paragraph has drain cleaning. So you're telling Google exactly what you do, what this particular page is about, where you're at. It's Super simple. Now, with that being said, one H1 on your on page, right? Here's another mistake that I see. Empty H2s through, let's say, H4s or even H5s. Okay. Don't leave those empty. Optimize that with variations of the keyword. Optimize that with entities of that particular keyword, whatever it may be. So don't leave those opportunities, because with and with this, guys, it also is going to give you a how can I say, um spread out your ranking factors, give you a diversity of ranking factors. You turn on the basic ranking factor levels. So if Google, with this as well, if Google, couple of things, if Google has an update, you won't get affected as much. Okay. Number two, if you do get affected, you'll bounce back. And also with this stuff here, if you fall victim as a business owner, or you forget as an SEO, or you're checking your SEO guide, um, if you're farming this out, right, or using a white label, you can check them. These are basic stuff you can see on any website, and I'll connect these dots. So make sure you utilize these factors. Spread out your diversity of ranking factors. Number two is like, or as I move on the list, guys, I think we're number four. Number five is the word count. Okay, so a lot of times it's a very thin word count. So if I use Cora, okay, so if we run a Cora report or any audit of your website, you'll see that it's thin in content. It'll be the word count. It'll be very low, or the density of a particular word. SEO Quick actually breaks down. Chris Palmer, you really utilize this. It'll break down the different keywords that your competitors have. And the explain to me this like duh type of thing where, hey, I don't have enough variations of the keyword. I don't have enough entities. My competitors are outbeating me. This is like low hanging fruit, guys, where we can take a look at your site. Well, of course you're gonna be low on these things where Google doesn't know what you're about or needs a little bit more, because you have such thin content. Your competitors have 1,000, 1,500 to start, and you have 5, 6, 300. I even seen 200. You don't have enough of those entities in there. You won't have enough H1s, H2s, H3s, all the way to 4 and 5, because you don't have enough content. And here's another thing with this list that I'm giving you guys. You'll see like SEOs like, man, I can turn you around in a week or two or in 30 days, right? It will be these low hanging fruits that will move the needle very quickly and very positive and matter within your website. Just with this stuff alone, super simple. Another area of opportunity that I see is especially your location pages, right? Won't have your GMB or the Google Business Profile connected to the site. Remember, we're trying to connect the dots with Google with proximity, the keywords, what you do, where you're at, right? And with Google My Business, that's kind of connecting the dots. And then within Google My Business, you can put certain things of keywords, your services, your product, more descriptions. You can actually put the URL to specific websites or URLs of your domain, right? Especially with your services. So connect your GMB with your website, right? If you have multiple locations and you have location pages, put your GMB in those pages, right? If you only have one location, put the GMB on the footer of all your pages. Okay. Another area of opportunity that will make a difference is your schema, right? A little bit of advanced schema period to help Google. So the way it was described to me is schema is a language that all the search engines came together to say, hey, this is a language, this is a code, this is a schema that all our crawls, all our little spiders that go out there, what is this website about? Bam, they can go in there really quick and look and then make quick decisions, right? Instead of like, okay, man, there's no schema there. Let's look deeper. Let's work harder. And then they only give you a brief time to do that, right? And then boom, you spent your budget and they're gone to the next time um, they they um, they come back. Do you mean put the link of the GMB? No, I mean like put the map embedment on there, and I'll show you how to get that map embedment, what that kind of looks like. But I'm literally putting the map embedment onto the let's say the footer of the page, 100%, Mike. So schema is another one. Put schema. There's the tools that you can utilize to help you with even more advanced schema, but schema is definitely a big winner. Pictures, how can I say this? Image SEO is what I'm really trying to say. Your images really optimize the alt tag or the image alt text, I should say, description and the title of it. That will definitely, Google reads those. It'll give you a slight edge. Not everybody does it. This is because it's very time consuming. It's very tedious. You have to get creative. If you guys catch previous GMB pros, Honey was on here. She gave us a free tool, like, because you got to be creative with the names. What can I come up with? She keeps it simple, effective, minimum dosage of effectiveness with a free tool on your image. But granted, yes, you have to take each image, so it could be very tedious, but very effective and give you that edge over your competitors. So image SEO for sure. Now here's another one that I see it like all the time. People drop the ball. Now, when we talk about backlinks, the way I like to describe it is when you're in high school and all the popular kids, right? We know that there's popular kids, everybody knows them. And if you're associated with them, like, man, you become a little bit more popular, your status kind of changes a little bit. That's what a backlink is getting the popular kids to kind of know you. With interlinking, is kind of like self-interlinking, like, hey, like, I don't know, promotion, getting Google to associate with like supporting content to your particular page or service page. But interlinking is huge, from service to service, from blogs to the services. The way you have it spidered out your page, the structure of it, it's definitely interlinking is a huge, huge deal. In fact, I gave Xavier an example. We won't use those examples I showed you, Xavier, but I showed him how you can take your location page, make it about the location, things to do about that to be solid on your location, and very little interlinking to your services, but effective. Okay. And then even within your services pages, interlinking, you're in junk removal, you're a plumber, you're a roofer, you know how to associate certain things within that niche. Roofers do gutters, right? Seamless gutters. What's that? Moonlight window right on your roof. You can associate certain things to help you, and that's a variation. That's different entities of what you do, right? So it'll help you. So interlinking is huge. That I see a great opportunity. It's like I said, this is all about, if I handle my on page, my off page, I'll have to do a lot less effective. Guys, a lot of SEO, a lot of agencies, when they audit your website, right? These are the things that they look at, and these are the opportunities. And they said, boom, I can help you. I can help you fairly quickly. You'll see effect. You'll be headed in the right direction. These are the little things that, man, it's a low-hanging fruit, and it'll make that needle move, definitely. Now, here's a new one that I've even fell victim to, is your anchor text. Anchor text. And there is so much to learn and so much you can get into anchor text. What, like, generic anchor text, exact match anchor text, phrase match, contextual, branded, right? So many, and even your image and the alt text, it's like an anchor text within for images. For images, it's your alt text that works as your anchor text. Then you get like really deep into it, guys. Like, okay, what's the percentage should be like branded? How many should be naked? And what I mean by that is it's a word or a phrase or that is hyperlinked to another page. So when I say branded, it's like generic, right? William Jones Marketing, Purpose Mind Marketing, your plumber business, it's branded, it's your brand name, the business name, right? Naked, it's straight up like www dot, William Jones Marketing, www dot Purpose Mind Marketing, www.youtube.com, right? It's naked, it's out there. And then you can also take phrases or sentences within a paragraph, or again, branded, exact match within there, and then hyperlink. But that particular phrase, that's the anchor. That is the magic happens in there. So Google said, hey, this particular phrase or the brand or being the naked, that is the anchor text. Like the click more, learn more, or anything that's hyperlink going somewhere, it's essentially a anchor text. So you can take tools like Screaming Frog, and again, Lee, he came on here, look at the past. He kind of went through how to take Screaming Frog, take a look at your anchor text, and you're gonna see a lot of times not to the fault of your own, because WordPress will default to certain things, but you can go in there and change them. They will all be the same anchor text throughout your pages, where you can use those to do variations of that. Some are blank. You have no anchor text on that particular page that you can link to other pages, utilize the different types of anchor text, but really optimizing that particular section. That's another opportunity. Guys, if you want to like really dig deep in there and take generic, like then you'll hear a lot of that, like, hey, what's the percentage of naked, branded, and all that. It's really what's working for you. But if you want to give it a number, branded 70%, naked, exact match, do 20% of that. And then everything else, as far as the breakdown of in your 5% contextual, 5% phrase match, that's really getting deep. But if you want to break something down, just give you a framework to work around, but it's really what works. And get those variations in there. Get creative in pulling that for your website. So guys, in a nutshell, I think those are the things that will move the needle. Those are the things that will ruin your on page, that it doesn't matter almost how much, if you don't have enough content, if you don't have any H1s, or multiple H1s. If your schema is not there, if you do nothing to your pictures, your internal linking, granted, and me saying that, and I tell you, it doesn't matter how many backlinks you put on it, and it doesn't matter how much citations you do, or press releases you do. Somebody's gonna find, well, look at this one, look at this one, look at this one. Yes, but what we're talking about is not outliers, but more like best practices. What we're talking about is the best practices that will make the most the squeeze is worth the juice, right? That will move the needle, the low-hanging fruit, what will make an impact. And then from here, you can build upon this. You can do good backlinks. You can do good citations. You can do some CTR. You can really manipulate stuff with this, but you have your foundation solid. And I think this is a great point to start as far as having a best practices and having a great foundation of it.